y'all. Welcome back. How many weeks is this now?
I don't know, man.
I lost count, bro.
I'm just walking by faith now at this point.
This week we got in the homie Sergio,
What's going on?
aka Monster in the Iron Mask, aka Crypto.
For the ones who know.
Yeah, man. It's just one of those weeks where we're just kicking it. See what's up. How y'all been?
Good, man. Good.
Everything good, man.
That's good news, bro. Good news.
Yeah.
We got the packages arriving,
Oh, bro. It's Christmas.
Unboxing.
Every week is Christmas. You ain't lying.
It's always Christmas, man.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about collecting, man. Like, we're literally kids on Christmas Day every week.
Know what I'm saying? I mean, some people didn't get no Christmas packages today. That Unbound shit went south real quick.
Wow.
Oh no, I saw that. What's going on?
Shout out to all the homies looking at the Unbound. I guess they rescheduled that shit. I don't know what happened.
That's crazy.
I heard it might have had to do something with Twitter Spaces. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think somebody leaked it out on Twitter and shut down the website.
Yeah, shout out to Vic. You know what I'm saying?
There's definitely like folklore going around about that. You know what I mean?
Of course, dog. There's some big money coming in. No, seriously, like they got hit with bots. Like I don't know, but it might be. It's inevitable at this point. Like it's just too much money being made.
Exactly.
That Spider-Gwen card came out today, or Ghost Spider. Everybody's trying to, get that sketch card. And I guess the numbered stuff, the auto, they got fucking canvas and all kinds of parallels now. So
speaking of that, I will say, remember, which is funny because I was just talking about in the last episode. I've never held personally that set in a high regard as far as like collectability for me. But like I've always said, I've seen how other people are liking it and they look forward to the drops. I will say there is definitely like, we talked about this, before in private conversations, like there is like top 3 artwork that we feel at least are his best characters he does. Well, I'll leave this for next episode, but I did pick up one of those characters.
Nice.
It was my Fred Ian piece, in other words. You know what I mean?
But that's a surprise to me, coming from Elusive. Not a big fan of that set.
Yeah, he's anti-E-Pack.
I want to be more open-minded. You know what I mean?
Oh, open-minded? That's refreshing. I mean, it's interesting that your top 3 definitely not my top 3. That's pretty cool.
Well, I think we had like at least 1 or 2 that cross-pollinate.
Oh, we definitely have.
We got some commonalities,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. The card you picked up. The funny thing is, and me and Doom talked about this, just to bust Elusive balls a little bit. He thinks his top 3 and his, in this character's realm. I don't agree, but still another conversation. We'll say that for next week.
Yeah.
Also, to my defense, again, I think you might have taken it only as artwork, where I'm combining it the fact that it's a numbered and auto card too.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, no, that does have it. Yeah, it is unique in that sense. Yeah. And that's why these cards are popular and a lot of people collect them week to week. So they're gonna reschedule that at this point that we're recording right now. They haven't really stated when, but I'm sure next time it happens, it's still gonna crash.
Yeah,
not much.
I mean, it's not the first time that it's crashed, right? Like I want to say that it's the first time that they've had to reschedule, right?
It's the first time they decided to shut it down, I believe.
Yeah.
Which, I mean that's a decision. I guess they were hit very heavy. I mean, I'm not sure. Yeah, it had to be like the biggest like traffic in E-Pack maybe. But I remember last year that Spider-Man was when it got crazy.
Yeah. It's good to show you though, man. Like compared to other ones, I mean, it's only like the bigger characters that people go for, and I get it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna go and go buy like a Bear Demon. I don't want a Bear Demon signed by Fredian, but it's just like, man, like it's the E-Pack Unbound thing is a little wild. It's more focused to the people that like art and stuff. I do kind of respect that it's like one artist, but I'd like to see other people too.
Yeah,
There's other
sets with
artists out there.
multiple. Yeah, and shout out to Retro, and he did a podcast with GBC, and they broke that down, that whole release down. So if y'all want more
Yeah.
info, definitely head over there.
Yeah, head over to Retro and who else? I think even
And where's Gingy, dog? Like it's crazy. Like it's another
Yeah.
episode without Gingy. I don't know. Yo, shout out to Gingy.
yeah, it's just like some kind of
Blink,
weird
blink
funny
twice,
Waldo.
dog. If they got you somewhere, dog. Like what's happening?
Yeah, it's like finding Waldo, man. We're looking for you, Gingy. Where you at, man? Come on.
Yeah,
He
no,
didn't
but
mean it. Retro didn't mean it.
Nah,
shout out to
listen.
him,
I
man.
think I
No,
think
cheers, Gingy.
I think Retro's holding down the helm pretty well.
Yeah, and
He's doing a good job.
TBC is doing.
He definitely understood the assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still waiting for our invites, but that's a whole another conversation. Yeah.
That's right.
Wow. Yeah. No.
Well,
Yeah. That's crazy.
Some would say there might be some discrimination there. We don't know. Allegedly.
I mean, from what he calls us, for sure.
I'm saying, you heard it from the horse's mouth.
No, but they've
No,
been.
but he's been doing a good job, man.
Yeah, they've been holding down the fort without Gingy, and definitely one that I listen to. One of the few podcasts nowadays I listen to. I've kind of stepped away from a lot of stuff. Been mostly watching, YouTube and a bunch of shows that I missed, like Succession. I don't know if you guys have been watching that, but there's some crazy shit going down.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian just finished. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Mandalorian, I'm a big Star Wars fan. I do like the older stuff more than the. Yeah. I like Star Wars, man.
Oh my bad.
I've always been big to the first 3 movies, Phantom Menace.
But then after you're right. You were into Phantom Menace. That's right.
No, you definitely are elder for sure. Yeah.
After Phantom Menace, it kind of gets a little funky for me.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. Like I've watched those within maybe the last 10 years. I watched them, but I'm definitely more excited about the modern shows. Mandalorian and the new Ahsoka trailer. That stuff's really making me want to go watch the Clone Wars, which is I believe that's the animation series that everyone's telling to go watch. So
I actually just started watching Mandalorian season 1. I'm a couple episodes in.
Oh, nice. It's sick.
Yeah. I know I'm a little late to the party, but man, I'm not a big TV watcher. I do watch certain things, but I try to mix it up, man. I don't like marathoning shit because it's just because it's boring.
Oh, I love marathoning.
Nah. Yeah. Listen, for a show to catch me really good, if I would have caught Last of Us pretty late, I could probably marathon that. That was pretty good.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, here's a little fun fact about Sergio. He's super patient. This guy could literally have 30 pieces of mail that's been sitting there, that packages, again, Christmas presents. He's one of those kids that wants to show you that there's 30 under his Christmas tree. You know what I mean? So he keeps, and then he makes you watch watch you open all of them at the same time.
Hey man, I'm never in a rush to open a package. I know what's in it.
Yeah, that's
wait. Have you watched Peaky Blinders yet?
I have not watched Peaky Blinders.
Wow, come on!
I have not.
What's going on, dog?
I'm just not a big TV watcher, man. It's got to be. I will say though, I'm gonna give you a recommendation. And I saw a little clip with a friend.
That's not how it works, bro. You don't give us recommendations after you haven't watched what we recommended.
Listen, it's in the queue. It's in the queue somewhere. We'll watch it down the road.
Okay.
But the new documentary about the chimps on Netflix, that's crazy. Watch that. Okay. I think it was pretty good. I'm not going to ruin it for you. Obviously it's about a tribe of chimps, but the story and all that stuff, man, I think it's pretty legit. It's pretty new. So
no. What about anime? I mean, you're the anime guy. Come on. What you got going on?
I actually watched a little anime today. I watched Evangelion Genesis, man. That's a classic.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yo, shout out to OCG HP.
Yeah.
I saw him post up the Evangelion Spider-Man kind of Evangelion mix on the sketch.
Yeah. Nice.
I've never seen that before. Like, I know we got like some chibi sketches and stuff like that, but like kind of like a mixture of like, the mech and Spider-Man. That was pretty cool to see. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, he's been his IG page is pretty clean. He got to go a whole vibe going on over there.
Yeah. It's got a good vibe,
Yeah, good vibe for sure.
But shout out to him, man, because he made a little trade happen for me, and
Oh yeah,
it was, man, dude, easy peasy, easy transaction, very simple, man. He sent me some extra goodies, dude. I appreciate you. So
Wait,
shout out to you, man.
You got
Yeah.
one of those Prism Marvel Annual Dooms, right?
Yeah, he gave me what was it called? The scatter shots or scatter
I don't know. It's a weird
black
name.
black splatter or something like that.
And you said he threw in a few extra dazzlers, or what is it?
Yeah, he did. And a couple humble beginning, little Scarlet Spider.
So, how do you feel about those prints? Like, you have the OG ones.
Yeah. How do I feel about them? I mean, you guys talked about it last week. I think certain items were done very well for Fleer Ultra.
Yeah.
I like what I don't like, and maybe I'm just like, kind of like a purist, and in the sense, like, yeah, obviously, man, like, yeah, I got some numbered cards, but I don't think that everything has to be numbered. And now it's just like a thing, right? Like everything's not numbered to 199. Like, dude, come on, you know what I mean? Like, this is not Marvel masterpieces. Like, we're not doing purple parallels and orange parallels and stuff like that. So, I kind of like the vintage feel of like, sometimes like, when you open up, for example, 95 mm or something like that, like you get a hit, but it's like, it's a hit,
Yeah, just short print.
There's no number required for it to tell you that it's a hit.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, some of the mysteries of like Marvel, it's just like, man, like, you get some of these new collectors and they just don't know the history, and they're not to blame. It's not an easy thing to really get like off the cuff like that. You really, if you want to learn it, you got to dig, bro. You got to do your research. You got to, get up in there, because if not, we saw a pending sale, right? Like a sale up on eBay for a certain card. And it's just like, dude, that's ridiculous. Like, that's ridiculous. That the price for what the insert is, it just doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, to your point about numbering, I will say this: like, what I would agree with is like less parallels. I'm still good with numbers, but don't give me like 10 different parallels. You know what I mean? For
that's what I'm saying.
But that's modern like sets. Just even sports, like I believe they had like at one point 34, 35 parallels on a basketball card. Like,
that's great. How do you keep track of that? Like,
and people go after it too. Like, it's just, yeah. I mean, the old school Marvel sets were more about short prints, and I believe they mentioned last year on the podcast, MCCW podcast with the Upper Deck guy, that beginnings was gonna have like variations and stuff like that, like the 90s stuff where it's almost it's not numbered, but there's a variation on the card, maybe different artwork that is not on the actual checklist, so you kind of have like a little treasure hunt for that stuff.
Easter egg.
Yeah, they're gonna do some of that, but yeah, man, there's a lot of we talked about this last week. Like, not every numbered card is the same. Like,
yeah.
No, it's not. Yeah, that's I don't like that aspect of it, man. Like, I just want like I want there to be like the hits. I just don't want a number involved in everything, because I feel like the number sets like a value of a monetary value of things that just kind of doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To each his own, dude. You want to go buy it, dude?
Yeah,
I'll send you the link, bro. But I just don't. Again, not to talk about like hierarchy, right? Like, but it was discussed last week. It's something that it's like, man, whether you want to discuss it or not, it's a real thing. Like, you have to, if you collect cards, just admit to it and just be like, yes, there is a hierarchy of cards, man. Like, there's a reason why X cards sell for X price.
Yeah.
Then that's just the bottom line. Whether you like it or not, whether you're in the hobby for that or not, it's just good to know that it's there. Why? Because instead of spending $800 on a brand new card insert, that's literally gonna, dude. That you know this, I know this. That card stock is gonna go down.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a matter of time when the next new toy comes out. Blah blah blah. Like it is, it is what it is. But that's just the reality, man. And like it would be nice for new collectors, right? Bunny ears, new collectors, to know that information before you go in too deep on like one set, and it's like, dude, like you're blowing your load too early, bro. Like there's a lot of shit that's like coming, there's a lot of shit that
Yeah.
but again, to each his own, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, people collect what they want to collect. But yeah, they're definitely gonna rush in a lot of it feels rushed because there's gonna be a lot more sets coming out soon. So
A lot, man,
a
a
lot of these
lot.
prices are gonna end up going down, especially after EPAC. Like there's gonna be like a whole, Black Friday sale after that shit comes out. So you just gotta be smart about it. But they look cool. A lot of cool stuff. I mean, the other thing this week for me, I finally got some PSA cards back. I posted some of my Doom shit. People liked it. They forgot I had it. A lot of new followers, they haven't seen that shit, but yeah, it looks nice, bro. It just looks nice slab. Certain cards.
Yeah,
A lot of listeners hit me up. A lot of homies here, so. And yeah, I just broke down. Man, it's a journey to get some of those cards. They don't just fucking fall to your hands. You gotta dig.
Yeah.
And some of those took over a year.
Mm.
And you gotta be lucky, man. Some cards pop up, Sergio, and we're not gonna say names, but there's a card that we saw this week, and I'm like, yo, that's a grail right there. People
Watch
just
out,
overlooking it,
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. I know what you were
like
talking
don't play with it,
And
Get your feelings hurt.
and a lot of people are gonna be looking at the shiny new stuff, and then
about.
there's
I will
stuff
say though that
sitting
I
there.
know the card in question here. Obviously, I think it's gonna do lower than you think though.
It might,
You know?
especially in this market right now,
Yeah.
things are going lower. But
Which
to
is
me, that's insane. Like it's just certain things you don't. Again, like
But
it
we're
has
not
too
talking
many
about that.
things.
We're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
talking about that. We're not talking about
Yeah, no, this is definitely, it's a Rick and Morty card we're talking about right now. But
that.
that's a lot going for it.
I mean, bro,
I think
people
so.
are going crazy for Mario. I'm over here trying to PC winning the Pooh cards, bro. You crazy? Come on, man. You guys are tripping.
It's a classic for sure.
Shit.
Yeah, bro.
Albums, huh?
A lot of people were posting Mario stuff. Lucid, what happened?
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, in all fairness, I don't think I wasn't early or anything with Mario. I think I shared with you that I had in mind recently was instead of trying to PC everything, which is kind of what I did with some of the characters with Marvel, where I do the trio.
Yeah,
I'm trying to take that same concept into things that were nostalgic to my childhood, or obviously to me, and like for example, Darkwing Duck. I told you that's
oof,
always been one of them. Mario, Batman and animated series for me, more so the movie. But as far as the show, for sure, the animated show gets it over the movie.
yeah,
Um, Ducktales, Uncle Scrooge,
of
right?
course.
So there's a lot of things that I want to go after, but I just want to go get 3 nice pieces from each category as an example.
Yeah.
And when I was doing research on Mario, I noticed a lot of the new stuff, the Panini stuff that's out, the so-called shiny, as Doom would say. But
Yeah,
I was looking for older things, and I researched on the oldest set, especially from Japan, and uh, I landed in that 1989 Carddass Tanuki, and luckily I was able to find a PSA 9 that for some reason to me it baffles me when you understand just that, not so much I would say the rarity as much as it is condition rare,
yeah.
uh, but also like how the age and it's such a bigger character and in general like how that was still available to me is crazy.
Yeah, and there's definitely like Mario fever going on right now because of the movie release. I mean, did you think of that after you saw the movie? Is that what triggered it, or like this is something you've been looking at for a while?
I had been looking at it, but across another TCG that that I've been starting to look into, which is Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I ran across that as I was doing it, but what did trigger my memory to go back to it was the movie. I took my kids to the movie, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I was looking into it. Let me go back." I saw the PSA 9 available, and, again, it's a pop 4 cards, 0 10s. It's gonna be tough to get a 10 on those, and, again, I'd just rather buy into speaking of, how this ties into the market, I'd rather buy a piece like that today than now that there's more attention on Mario, and then more people are gonna, potentially bring these cards to market. I don't wanna pay the going rate that's gonna happen possibly, you know?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it's always a guessing game too. Like with something that you just
Like, look at
realize. Yeah,
the sorry to cut you off, but the Mickey Lorcana cards right now. What's going on with
crazy,
those prices?
crazy.
Have you seen I looked up the pop last night, and I don't own any of those cards, so obviously I'm gonna be honest with
I
you, right?
believe they're all promos still, right? Like the official product hasn't been released.
I'm not sure, I didn't dig into them, I just wanted to see the pop report because the prices didn't align to me, and I think the pop was, like, 600 on the pop on an 8s and 9 or 9s and 10s. Yeah.
It's crazy about the Lorcana cards, and I'll give my opinion on this. I think that the release of the that 100-year whatever, like the Kakawao set that came out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it starts building a little hype train, right? Like obviously we saw it, man. Like I saw it actually. One day I kind of like I see someone like posting about the 100-year set. The box is going for 250. The next week they're going for 350. Now they're
yeah.
going for like 4 or 500. Like it's just people start building the hype, and then it's like okay, what's the next big thing? Oh, I got to get into the next like Lorcana set. My opinion on the cards, especially like game cards like that, dude. I've never been a big fan of. I don't buy overpowered cards. Like I don't
Yeah.
like trading like game cards like that. Like I think they're like this isn't like Pokemon. Like Pokemon's like a game card, but
Yeah, like
obviously like a little
Yu-Gi-Oh!
different.
That started as a
This
game, you know?
this Lorcana set is not the new Pokemon, bro. It's not the next Yu-Gi-Oh. It's not the next whatever. It's just a new set, right? Which we talk about all the time. It's just like everyone wants the new stuff because they can't have the old stuff.
Mm.
They want the new set, and they want like the new hype, and they want like the new PSA 10s, and they want the flipping, and they want to sell the best Mickey Mouse card for $5,000, and that's just what it is, man. Like it's a hype train to me. Like I don't think that it's going to be the first of its kind or whatever. I get it, like first edition, blah blah blah. I just don't see it like long term holding value like that.
Longevity. Yeah. I think a lot of it is like inadvertent like hype because I don't think it's purposeful. I just think right now we live in an era with social media with a lot of videos and just people keep seeing videos and videos and videos. I don't think it's always intentionally to be hype, but the more you see, the more you get excited for it. Now you want go grab one.
No, and 100%. Like that's what it is going on, right? Like they get the new box release, and now we have, and we kind of saw the same thing with Street Fighter, right? Same thing with Street Fighter. Now all the movies announced, and now there's a new card set coming out, right? But
Yeah,
guess
yeah, yeah.
what? None of these people were talking about that when Street Fighter 5 came out or Street Fighter 4 came out. You
Not
know,
even not yeah, and there's action figures that just came out for Street Fighter too. Like
Mm.
there's just everything Street Fighter
Wow.
right now is on
Wow.
fire. Like super hype. And a lot of those like the action figures, I think they're done by I forget the name of the company. It's a smaller company, I believe. They're like $20. They're not even expensive, but people are buying triples and four at a time. Like there's definitely hype around Street Fighter.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of, and I think if it's done right, because I think I don't know if we've talked about maybe like on private conversation, but you have a lot of these like some of the animes that try to go like live action, and it's just like, bro, there's only
Yeah.
there's like limitations of what you can do. Like
Yeah.
they try with Cowboy Bebop. If you guys have never seen it, it's just one season. It's very short. Check it out. I'm not going to give you the full rundown, but it's a good show. Good message. One season, right? It was super popular. Still like cult classic.
Mhm.
They tried to do the live action. It didn't work. Why? Because like anime, like the stories are too deep, and you're trying to like compress
Mm.
into like a show that it's like, dude, no, there's like 24 episodes for a reason,
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, especially those animes. They're definitely. I think one of the best things about them is what you enjoy in the first place is the character development and the stories. Like
Yeah.
that's what keeps you coming back. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of animes out there that are probably not as like action heavy as like a Dragon Ball Z. Even though Dragon
Yeah.
Ball Z would drag out the action scenes themselves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, what keeps you is the story. To your point, Sergio.
And I believe like even from comic books to animation, there's just certain I would say like I not even IPs, but like certain stories, certain whatever it is that it just sticks to it just presents well in one format over the other. And then when you try to force it into
Mm.
an animated movie or you try to force it into a live action film, like it doesn't
But look,
translate all the
can
time.
can can we say the same about Marvel though? Because we talk, me and you talk about this, like the whole
Mm,
animated scene thing, right? Like Marvel,
yeah.
what happened? Like
Yeah.
you let DC take over in the animated world,
Well, it was
you
kind
know?
of DC's thing to begin with, right? Well,
No,
unless
it
you go
really was.
back, Fantastic Four. What year was that? That old
You
animation.
know what I
Uh,
think it is?
Mid
I think
'70s.
I think it was mercy, to be honest with you. Because Marvel's being out DC in the movies, they're beating them out on the shows. They're like, yeah, let's not take the cartoons from them either. Or also,
And,
Well, but
and
DC had films from animation like years before like the MCU, I believe. Like I think a lot of this. I mean, the Mask of the Phantasm was is that 93, 94 when that came out? Like
yeah, but you go back to what we were talking about earlier. Like people's attention is in what's going on now. Like they don't dig in the past.
no.
You know?
well, then what do you call nostalgia? Like everyone's, I mean, I guess maybe our age range, like everyone's going back.
No, but you're referring to like nostalgic, meaning you already seen it before. I'm talking about how many new people is it drawing? How many new people are
Mm,
Like you're saying,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
how
I see
many
what
new
you're
people are watching like
they're
Batman animated
discovering it. You know what I mean?
for the
Like
first time?
That's interesting.
correct.
Yeah, who knows, right? Like it's interesting. I mean, I definitely gone back to like we talked about this before, just going into comic books. I ain't know shit about comic books. Never seen them.
Yeah.
And I'm going down that road just because of the cartoons like X-Men and Batman, and Turtles. But yeah, I don't know how many kids are really, preferring. Although you do hear that in music, like a lot of old music becomes popular on TikTok,
Mm.
even though like modern music's not hitting as hard. It's just weird. It's a weird time right now.
There's definitely cycles even with music for sure, and even like obviously like fashion, right? Where you see like
Yeah, was that
over
every
baggy
20, 30
clothes in
years? Yeah,
2000. I feel like are starting to make a small comeback, at least more like a loungy kind of look. You know what I mean? Like
the
chilling.
Jinko era is coming back. That's what you saying?
I don't know, but that's
Yeah.
to the point, like everything older comes back.
All
But
right, so when do we get a new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater? That's what I'm saying.
Oof.
yeah, I don't know if you can recreate that. It goes back to the not so much the format in this case, but how do you beat something that's undefeated?
Yeah, because the music was part of it too.
It was a whole vibe. Everything together was
That's
everything went
definitely
well
a
together.
vibe. It was like MTV era vibe.
Yeah, there was a lot going on, I think, in general. Like, and now the debate is not even a debate. Which one do you guys like more, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 or 2?
Two.
2.
Yeah, probably too.
I think two was. Is one the one that starts in the warehouse?
I haven't played in a while.
Because
1.
I remember there's a Pizza Hut promo CD, and it had I think that was the one where you start in the warehouse and shit.
Mm.
I remember that being a big deal. Um, yeah, even that like video games. Yeah, I'm definitely right now. I'm definitely just going back nostalgia heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say
Yeah.
though, on that same note, I feel like one thing that's happening, and eh, maybe I feel this way because I'm not into that hobby, and I'm just seeing it from an outside perspective. But I feel like people are a little bit getting too crazy with grading things in general. Where like now the video game thing is being graded. Like I
VHS.
I
Yeah.
don't know where we're stopping. Like are we encapsulating everything?
Ooh.
That's it.
I mean, it
Well, listen.
feels that
I
way,
mean,
right?
at this point, even now, they're doing the like the open box, like encapsulated toys, and they're giving them grades, even though they're not like sealed in boxes. You know?
Yeah, but that's been going on for a while.
Yeah, I mean, well, but I do agree. Everything now is like a grade thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think part of that too, like, you know, and I see it happen on Instagram as well. Uh, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I get it, I respect it, right? Like everyone has their price for stuff, but it's like, dude, one thing that like it's kind of like a pet peeve is when people try to sell you like raw comics at like graded prices. I'm like, bro, like, come on, you know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's like a 7. Really? Is it a 7? Because I don't see a CGC slab that says it's a 7. You know, like it's probably like missing a page or like, you know, it's like wet inside. You know, it's just like, guys, like, come on. You know, like people get a little bit too crazy with pricing on certain things, and you know, just realize like, man, that there's some certain stuff that's out there like, you know, you think might be rare. It's actually not as rare as you think it actually is. You know.
And again, I'll say this, man, because I think a lot of times I'll give examples or throw in my 2 cents on like a card's value or a specific set. At least where I'm coming from is, yeah, when I try to give advice, I'm not talking about the cards you want to have fun with and build a binder collection with. I'm referring to like a a card that you're going to spend your hard-earned money. Like I know price is relative to everybody or money's relative, but for me, like let's just say I always think of like either a teenager or maybe like a uh, someone in college or whatnot that they want to start a collection. So I always think that they had, where you're going to start off at, maybe because that's around the time I started collecting, uh, 18, 19. I was working with limited funds. So like, $100 was a big purchase. So
Yeah.
when I give advice on like what cards are worth more than others, I'm just coming from at least what I feel is going to retain its value the
Yeah.
most, and it's only specific to those cards. And again, I'm only coming from a place of trying to help people not like to your point, paying $400 for a modern card of 100 because of what's out there comparatively. And you don't have to go to cards that I own. I'm just saying like think for yourself and think of older sets and you know what you could get for your money somewhere else is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like you don't have
And
you don't have to listen to or collect the way I collect. At all, everybody we collect our own way. But if you're one of your worries, and this is only targeting those specific people, is you putting your money. Uh, if you're worried about it's your collectible losing money, then make sure you're putting them in the right place. Is all.
yeah, like, and I'll give you an example. You know, shout out to back in the day comics. You know, he sent me a link the other day, and I was just like, dude, that's wild, man. You know, like he's in search of a card in a PSA 10 because he wants like you know, he wants certain cards of a certain character in PSA, which is cool. You know, like he's I guess, you know, building like a mini character collector like kind of situation going on. Surfer's a tough one. You know, we all know that Surfer's a tough character to collect just because of. I think people just, you know, they hold on to those cards, you know, like they if they collect that character, like, man, like how hard is it to get some doom stuff off of me, you know? And I may have a
Yeah.
double, but it's like it's not just like available like that to, you know, just to give out to you know, one person or another. Um, but you know, I think that he showed me a link, and I'm like, man, like that's wild, bro. People wanted they wanted $1,700, or sorry, the bid went $1,700 for a PSA 10 90 Impel Surfer card, and it's just like, dude, like how can that card, a 91 Impel base card, sell for that much?
Yeah. Yeah. That sometimes things like that is when I understand that there's huge demand. I think that's the only thing I could attribute it to because who's absorbing and buying these many nines and tens from 90 MPL for the prices they're going for, knowing what the pop report on that is again. But
Well, the pop for that card was low, right? But here's the thing, and this is something that, like, you know, I want viewers or listeners to understand. The pop is low, and you may ask yourself, oh, well, it must be a hard card to gem. No, it's because nobody's grading that specific card. You
the
know,
character.
like if I wanted to go on eBay and buy 20 of those cards and take a shot at it, I could. You know,
Yeah.
but why would you spend X amount of money, $1,700 on a base 90 Impel card, when you can go buy this over here, for the same
Yeah,
amount of money. Like, again, collect what you want. I'm just saying, dude, like,
yeah,
you want to collect pieces that like are going to retain value, because I'm telling you right now that that card in a couple years is not going to sell for 1,700. You know that, and I know that.
yeah,
So, you know, it's one of those like, hey, man, like, I don't want to give you advice and tell you what to buy, but it's more of like, dude, let me help you and be like, dude, like, don't spend your money on that, because there's other things you can buy for that same amount of money or less that are going to retain its value better and be more rare of a piece than a 90 info base card, bro. That's crazy.
yeah. Yeah, and again, look, but like we were saying earlier, money is relative. So if to you, $1,600 is $16, then by all means buy whatever you want. It,
No, of course, yeah.
but again, it's just us. Like all I guess my point of that whole rant was to say that the intent behind the advice is just that, to help people, guide people into, and you could take a lot of the concepts that we talk about in general for most other collectibles, including comics, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I approach it the same way. Like at this point, anything you purchase, like for me, it has to be something I love, but it does have to retain some value. So I
Yeah.
just can't justify throw money like anywhere. It, it's man, if we just zoom out and just look at a like overall scope of like the amount of money going into collectibles,
Yeah.
Mm,
it's a lot of money, man. Like,
And I'll make a comment on that too, just to give people like a little more insight as well. Like, and I give Elusive as an example in props, because when I first came in the hobby, Elusive is like, yo, check this out. Like, and he would show me stuff that, in essence, if you think about it, he didn't really have to, same with Doom Card. Like, yo, he showed me shit that's like, yo, check this out. He didn't have to. He
yeah,
could have, in essence, like, gate kept that information. But I just think it's important to follow the right people for the right things. You know what I mean? Everyone has different content. Everyone talks about different stuff, posts different stuff. Just take like the best little tidbits of people's things and just put it together and make your own conclusion. But
yeah,
at least that like stuff that, if you ask me, right, like, personal, like, hey, like, this and that, I'm gonna try to keep it real with you, and I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but I'm gonna tell you like, hey, man, like, you could also do like something better with what you're doing.
yeah, exactly. It's almost like, I mean, close to it, right? I mean, maybe not the best analogy, but if you're gonna go buy something, let's say you have to go buy, I don't know, name something real quick, right? Like something from the store, and it's gonna be $10. If I'm the cashier there, wouldn't you like if I tell, hey man, it's 2 for 10 today?
yeah. Try
Of
to find a
course.
deal.
You know what I mean? That's it. Like I'm just letting you know. At least at that point, you could still say, you know what, I just want the one.
Yeah,
But at least I gave you the information
it,
for you to make the choice.
especially right now too. Like right now, where we are, like in the world and financially, where everything's at, it's cool to romanticize and act like we can just collect what we want and go about our ways. But if you're gonna spend some of your hard-earned money, like
Mhm.
it's very difficult to justify a purchase over $100 to most people.
And you know what? I
Yeah.
will say this too, especially Doom is a good example. And this is no shots fired. It's just being honest. Like a
Yeah,
good example of why you want things to retain value at least is, let's say you get bored of something, right? And let's say that was a good amount of capital you had saved up to buy collectibles. Let's say for someone that's $1,000. Let's just say,
yeah.
and you bought 5 pieces for $1,000. And guess what? Maybe a couple months you felt like you FOMOed into that and you didn't really want it. Wouldn't it be nice that you could sell them and get most of your money back, if not all of it? That way you could go back and now and go, okay, I shouldn't have bought that. I really wanted this, so now let me reallocate my
I,
money towards that.
I think more and more, I guess we have like cycles of collecting things and buying things and moving into different things. The most I've realized up to now is at some point, like that, whatever you collected, it serves its purpose, and now you want to go into something else, and it's just easy to move some of your they're basically assets. Move them into the next thing you're looking at. Like from I started with sneakers, and I moved into basketball cards, then I went to Marvel cards, and now I saw some pieces, and I want to buy an original piece. Like
Mhm.
it's some I don't. I guess I don't view it as.
You know what it is? It's all go ahead, man, go ahead, I cut you off.
I mean, to me, it's just like graduating to something else. Like your tests get more refined and refined, and you learn about the the more you dig, the more you find, and you realize there's things out there that are more valuable to you, and it's just easy to have things that you can sell to move into the new piece, whatever that is.
Yeah,
But
and mind you, in this example, you're jumping from thing to thing, but it also works just as well as if you're staying in the same category, but you're just getting bigger and bigger cards for the character you're collecting too.
yeah, you're just going after the more rare stuff. I mean, one thing, I know there's different viewpoints about if there's hierarchies or not in collectibles, but the more rare something is the chances are it's gonna be more expensive regardless whatever you collect.
Well,
And it's just a
Right.
reality.
it goes real quick though. It goes back to what we were talking about last time, Doom, where like I tell you, I was losing a bit on a Wolverine card that I was going after, right? And it told me at the end of the day, I've heard it from Gary Vee. Just to take this from, because this is not for me. The market will dictate what's worth,
Yeah.
and that's regardless of what you think, what I think, what we say. The market is going to go, oh, okay, well, this hardly comes up, so this should be worth. Naturally, you'll see that.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes it takes a while for that to shake up and settle where it's gonna settle.
Mhm.
And some things are just popular. Some things just everyone wants. Like there's, you know,
PMGs. Yeah.
it's weird to me. I see it like a lot of these comic books, slab books, right, and just random books that are 9.8s, and they just sell like it's nothing, man. Like it's just like there's always a market for some of this stuff, and there's a bigger audience maybe than cards on there for sure. It's more established, but
I wonder,
man,
though, to be honest with you, to your point earlier about how whether when you're calling some of the collectibles you're moving around, you call them assets. Like that's a new thing, really new, because, and I'm not talking about selling is new, but how they're referred to as or seen as
yeah,
by other people is new. Because when I was 10 years ago collecting diecast, no one called diecast an asset.
no. And it's a new perspective for me
Yeah.
personally. I hate when people refer to shit as assets, or like if you're collecting not out of the love of collecting, you're just collecting to have something that has value. But in the end, when you try to move to something else, the reality is that you just have to move in with cash, man. And the only way to do it is by offering up pieces of value. I mean, you told me that when you talked about collecting Pokemon, you figured it out right away. Like when you try to move a lot of those things, like the only things that were moving quickly or were liquid were like the big pieces, the big characters, and that's why your approach to Marvel was different than mine.
Yeah.
But now, even if and I love to romanticize the collecting aspect of it, but ultimately, this is all money. Like it's just no way around it. Like
Yeah.
unless you're getting gifts and or stuff like that, like it's all money, and it's hard for me to buy something big and not sell something because
Yeah.
it's it's almost if I feel like I'm being greedy or like it just feels wrong. Like if I have something that can offset this new price
Mhm.
and that already served its purpose, whatever card that is, whatever at some point it was shoes. Like why not use what I have to move into what I want without wasting the least amount of money and keeping that cash reserved for like life stuff. We all get hit with
Yeah.
life shit, so that's why we utilize what we have to move into new things. I mean, it just is
And,
what it
and I
is.
and I think that, like, after a while you learn that lesson, right?
Yeah,
And then you move differently, and
yeah,
that's why we pick up the shit the way that we pick up, because it's just like, the homework's done, right? Like we've done the homework, Like we have pieces that we want. There still might be pieces that we're missing, right? Of course, like we're not going to have every single piece,
Yeah.
but I'm not over here like I'm no longer at this point buying base cards or even at this point, and you guys know this. For me, just cards in general. Like
Yeah.
there's only 2-3 cards out there that I need, and that's like pretty much completes like my Doctor Doom card collection. That's it,
Yeah.
and that it doesn't go past 2014 MU for me. And kind of the same like the comics. Like I get it, the modern stuff. Yeah, I think some of it's cool. Obviously, you guys saw me pick up a couple modern pieces, but what brings me let's call it joy and my collecting is the older shit, the vintage shit.
Yeah, you figured out where you want to zone in
Yeah.
or where you want to go lock down. And I think to me, I kind of see it just as a graduation phase as a collector. Like you just graduate into like, oh, now I fully understand what is available all the time and what's not available all the time,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
And I understand what I put on a pedestal that others don't. And when
yeah,
something that's rare and I really love it and it's there, I'm gonna move things that I love to get that because I know how difficult it's gonna get. Like that opportunity might have missed. You might have missed out on
Yeah.
cards. Now, when this art comes out or this comic book or whatever it is you're looking at appears, you're at a different level of graduation phase in your collector, and you don't think about it twice. Like you move stuff.
A great
yeah,
example, man, and another big shout out, and I really appreciate you, bro. Thank you for the comic cut link. Remember we had that conversation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Without naming, what I was going after, and it was in the same price range, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah,
remember you're like, yeah, but this is a piece that you're not gonna get a shot at again.
yeah.
And I'm like, that's true. And I'm like, and I still got another 20 shots at the Wolverine, possibly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and these are just things that you have to spend well, spend money and waste money along the way
Mhm,
to learn these lessons. But once you start, accumulating this information as a collector in any space,
mhm,
your radar goes off quicker. Like you know exactly what you should go after and whatnot. And it's different for everyone. Again, you have to know what your taste is. You have to know what you're into at the moment. You have to know what is what how many chances you get at certain things. There's some things that it's only once and boom, it's out.
And I've learned more and more to your point on how to identify, at least for me, some of those items. And I'll tell you this, and you guys will laugh because this is how you know you're a collector. Because again, everybody sells, but if you're truly a collector, this is how you know. Your blue dot goes off, your heart starts racing,
Oh yeah.
if it's something you hadn't seen in 6 months to a year, and you see what it is, and you're nervous, like you don't even you won't you're worried if someone's gonna click on it buy now before you do. Before you're making your decision whether you're gonna buy it or not, or how much you're willing to pay for it, you're the whole time contemplating, whoa, someone could just grab this now.
And that new thing with eBay, shout out to eBay. The new thing was like, someone favored this in the last 24 hours. Well, that puts
Oh,
pressure. When you see that, like,
yeah.
oh, I'm not even wasting 5
Eh,
seconds. We just buying it
hey,
now.
and the best part is that that's just me liking it. Like, all right, yeah, that's cool. Let me watch this really quick. You're over here like sweating balls.
Because
On the other end, like, damn, he's
someone's
about to buy
watching
it.
it. Yeah, there's an
Yeah,
intent. There's an intent out there, and someone's watched it. Maybe they're not bought it, but they sent the link somewhere because everyone has clicks.
Yeah.
It's another
Okay.
thing collecting. Everybody has clicks. I don't care who you think you are, and oh no, but I'm for the people bullshit. Like everyone has their little inner circle. Everyone has clicks. Everyone looks out for their own. It's not to be a dick to anyone else, but like you
Yeah.
come into a collecting space with a certain people at the same time, and you have
Your
your own little
graduation
clique.
class. It's
Yeah,
your
it's your
graduation.
graduation class. Everyone looks for each other, and the people before you, they look out for theirs. And hey, that's you can't take that to the heart. Like you understand,
It's
and
a
you just
vicious
keep it
cycle for
moving.
sure because there's, bad things about it, but you're right. It's like it's always being taught and
It's human
repeated.
nature. It's tribalism, right? Like it's
Yeah. And the people that came before us will argue like they're saints, but it's the same thing. Everybody,
yeah,
it's, like you said, you live and learn.
of course, man.
exactly.
Especially one on ones. Like how many people want one on ones?
Yeah.
Shitload.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of
No,
ones.
but I think to add on to like what we're talking about right now, you know, uh, it's kind of easy, right? Like, because at the end of the day, if you're online and you see certain people's pages and you like their stuff, right?
Yeah.
You kind of see what what direction they're going in, right? Like what's their taste or how they post or whatever it is, and you kind of like you should be taking notes. Like
Yo, that's our version
look at
of digging in the crates. That's what it
yeah,
is for us. Yeah.
like it's almost like you look at certain pages and we're giving you answers here,
Yeah.
and some people are just doing it right. There's some people that have really good pages and they post really good stuff and like some rare stuff and like all the good stuff, and then there's other people in the hobby that they could be like they don't give you like all that, like they have their collection, they don't really show much, and they show their like little random stuff. But I like kind of following pages that kind of like Elusive said earlier have kind of like a vibe, right? Like they have like a certain scenarios going on in their page, and I think that's pretty cool. Like I like I don't want to at this point. Yeah, like listen, don't get me wrong. If you post a base card, I think it's still cool. Elusive doesn't, but I do.
Yeah.
Because
That's false. That's depending on the artwork of the base card. Maybe the base card that Sergio picks is what he's talking about.
Elusive, it's got to be like a pop 2, in the PSA, and he's about it.
Wow.
There's another false. You got a lot of false stories here, man.
No, this is not true.
No, and that's true.
Me
Like,
and you know.
yeah, but even then, like, I see people posting like base cards or like they're new into like they're coming into cards and they're putting new Doom stuff and like they've been collecting Doom comics and other shit, but they're putting like masterpieces. Shout out to the Doom chat. There's 95
Hey,
masterpieces. You know what I'm
th-
saying?
thank you, bro. I appreciate you bringing that up, man. Because one thing I just want to let people out know, because there's a lot of new Doom collectors out here, right? Picking up Doom stuff. I just want to say, I'm warning you. You guys want to talk about gatekeeping? I would say again, not I have some Doom pieces that some Doom collectors don't have, and I'm not invited to these Doom, character collector chats. Just so you guys know. So
Again,
it's hard out
Elusive.
here.
I didn't create the chat. I
No,
was
no, no. I'm not.
invited.
I'm not
I'm a
mad at it. I'm
guest.
just letting people know that
You know
it's.
what I'm
You know what I'm
saying?
saying? There's no nepotism going on our side. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's
Oh
just
no,
whichever Latverian brother sent out the chat
yeah,
just
bro. You
didn't think
just don't
you were
have
worthy,
the.
bro.
Yeah, you don't have the pass, dog. I can't.
Oh
I'm trying
wow,
to work on a passport
you
for
just told
you,
on who
but
it was.
like,
I gotta reach out to that person.
Elusive has one comic and like 4 Doom cards, and he's like a Doom collector. It's crazy,
it's kind of. But look, these guys are
Uh,
putting base cards, and I still get excited when people are excited about discovery, right? That discovery
yeah,
Oh,
phase.
100%, 100%. But the only thing is, like, look, just like again, to you guys, bringing you guys up to credit here. It's like, man, they're like, where would I be if you guys didn't show me like the light, right? Like, what would I be buying? Like, what would I still be buying? Would I still be collecting? Like, what would I have gone further into my collecting of a character
dog, you
if?
would be doing box breaks with awesome sauce. What are you talking about?
Oh man, box breaks, my favorite.
Yeah, you'd be buying fucking packs for $50 or what was it? Those prisms.
You be on Walmart buying from Elusive. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
No, but like, yeah, like even that, like at this point, once you have your own clique and we all have our little, collector war stories that we pass around. Like, I know I can picture what Sergio's discovery page on IG is. It's a bunch of
Oh,
Japanese stuff.
we're
It's a
talking
bunch
about
of
that.
yeah, right. Like Elusive, there's a lot of Porsches. A lot of like
Yeah.
a lot of
False.
bougie shit on that side. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a lot
Mhm.
of shiny stuff over there. And so
Okay.
you kind of like when you dig in and you find something, and we talked about this before, like their recommended items popping in on the blue dots, like you're not even looking for things, and they
Yeah.
just suggest like an item, like oh, and that goes in a rabbit hole, and you're like, you know what, this is not for me, but I know who it's for.
Yeah.
Send it to them, and then they probably don't buy that, but they end up going through a rabbit hole, and they end up getting some obscure shit, and then you're like, wait, and then you go look at that, and it's just a circle that keeps going and going. Like that's the fun part,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's all like
and
information that you're discovering, but again, like you have like a trained lens for
Yeah.
certain things, and some people like Sergio just gifted and like your algorithms are crazy. Like there's some things that y'all get that I never even thought about.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember your face when I showed you. I mean, I know it's simple. I know Crypto's not a huge fan of it, but when I saw the Mario again, not to again, I'm not pumping the card because I'm not, look at the pop report. I don't own
Yeah, there's nothing
but
important.
one card. But my point is that you look at that card and just like everything together, it's a clean card. Like I've got a lot of comments and DMs about the card that people were interested that I never thought would be interested in cards.
Me,
That
yo,
they're not collectors, and they something. I'm sure some of it has to do with like you guys said, Mario movie that just came out, but it's also nostalgic. 89 is that's our age group.
it's also like, and you showed me the image of that card before you got it in hand. I was like, oh, that's cool, right?
Yeah,
Then you put it on your, light box treatment and the way you do videos. Shout out to you. Not a lot of people do it well.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
but when you posted, I'm like, oh shit. I didn't
A
know
little different,
I
right?
didn't know I needed it. I liked it.
Yeah,
And I'm like, wait, hold up, what? There's a PSA 8 out there. Let me go get there real quick.
yeah.
Like it's just
Wow,
certain
shout out Obi
things.
because I give that's how you know it's fair, Obi. I give you the link first, and you slept on that, and what happens is you get Doom. Doom's like an eagle, man. He sees the
You know
scoop
what
that
I'm
he's gonna.
saying? Like, OB, yeah, we could, work something out, later on. So, me, I'm open to stuff. But no, I saw that. And it, I didn't grow up with Mario. I grew up with Genesis, Sega Genesis, baby. So I was doing,
Sonic.
Sonic, Mortal Kombat, that type of shit. But I do have memories. Like my brother-in-law is super heavy into Nintendo, older than me, obviously, like 10, 11 years older than me. But when my niece was born, like we brought out the Super Nintendo and we were playing Mario Brothers. Like,
Yeah,
so to me, I saw that. I'm like, whoa, fuck. If I think it's dope, wait
yeah.
till I show them. Like, this is something that
Yeah.
I can send, I don't know if they're interested in that, but like, it's just a
And
cool,
let's
dope piece.
Yeah.
let's see in what direction like this whole Nintendo thing goes, because if it's one thing, it's going to be the other, right? Like we talked about Zelda, right? Like now everyone, I saw, I think it was Comic Tom talking about Zelda top 10. Oh, it's in the Valiant comics, all that good stuff. And it's like,
Oh, really?
naturally, it's just going to be, yeah,
Wow.
it's going to be one of those things, dude, where the next movie, the next best thing, because they gave you the timeline, right? You can see the timeline. You know what's going to be released in what years and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You
if you
kind of
want
doing
to, I
your
mean,
research. Yeah. Right now, you're like scrambling to see what else you're nostalgic for in that era.
yeah, and they're basically giving you the answer. Like, yo, this is coming out this, like on this date, and this is the next movie, and blah blah blah. Kind of like DC, kind of like Marvel and all that stuff. But it's just a
Yeah.
matter of like when you want to jump in, and like I said, do some homework, man. Like that's like the best advice anyone can give you. Like, dude, just do your own research, and that's why I don't like necessarily sharing too much on IG. Some of the stuff is like, dude, you're asking me about the cover of the comic and the numbers on the front. Like, just look it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Some people want the information spelled out, dog. Those days are over.
Yeah,
Like,
I told Doom I had a scenario where someone reached out to me offering me to sell me raw Marvel cards. I passed on him. I told him, I have those already or whatnot, and he asked me if I could break down and teach him how to grade. And I'm like, I was about to just send him a link, and I think he replied, I'm looking on my own. Like that's what you're supposed to do. Like, yeah, I would give you a link on what I would recommend as a good video,
yeah.
but I can't, be typing up essays back and forth.
It's just
It's like,
difficult because then you have, just, everyone has, stories where they get burned offering certain amount of information to people. And
yeah,
it's difficult. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, look, all you need is an image. If you really want something,
yeah,
you'll go fucking dig it out.
yeah.
Like, trust
But
me, that's part of the fun too. Like, once you find that, and like, that's how,
Again, we take it that way. That's the fun part for us. That's what we like.
yeah, I'll say this: sometimes
yeah,
an image,
that could be fun.
sometimes an image won't help you out very much. Sometimes the image isn't going to help very much, and that just means you got
Nah,
to dig deeper, bro.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just,
You're right.
what
There is an image for me that all I got is image, and I have no leads yet. So you're right.
it's like a little token out there that keeps you looking for shit.
Mhm.
And along that journey, you find other things you never were looking for that,
Exactly.
They're like little side quests.
That's
We're talking about that, right? They're like
Definitely
side
side
missions.
quests. There is
yeah.
side missions, but like, and not to be harsh to anyone, but like those days are over. Like we can't spell shit out for you. Like
Yeah,
a lot of the shit we got, we didn't get much help doing it,
yeah,
and I know understand that some people, like you said, they might not enjoy the aspect of searching for things, but I mean, if you, I don't know how you can be a collector and not enjoy that part.
yeah.
If
But
you just want
that's
have
why we
like,
have but that's why we have like little oddities and shit that other people don't, because we just look where other people don't, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
because a
No,
What,
lot of
what,
this
listen,
shit, a lot of
it's
this shit
almost
isn't
like
like an investment piece. A lot of this shit is just rare stuff.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Like that's another thing too. Like one of my it don't matter who. So someone asked me like when I search for stuff, like what is the intent? What am I looking for? And I can't answer that to you. Like I'm looking,
Just
and when I
digging.
find something I like that calls to me, that's what I buy. I'm not out here looking to invest money. What I do is I collect things I like, but kind of like we were talking about earlier, I just been collecting for so long that I'm just been trading pieces to get other pieces, like we were saying earlier. But
No.
what I
Yeah.
like about these is when you're searching, like you're saying, you're doing these little side quests, you find these little Easter eggs. Like I slipped into the Mario that way. No one sent me a link to a Mario or anything. It's just I was digging so much that I found it, and
Yeah.
I thought it was dope, and then it just happens to be that other people agree.
And then the
Yeah.
more
But
you
I, that
dig,
wasn't my
the
intent.
yeah, the more you dig, the more images you find. The more images you find, you narrow down searches, and when you narrow down a search, there's always somebody out there who had it all along.
Yeah,
You find that Instagram page or you find whatever website, and it's all there. But
yeah,
in order to get there, you gotta start somewhere. Like it's like reaching the treasure box. Like there's a fucking map of shit that you go through, and then once you hit it, boom, oh, it's here all along.
yeah,
And now when the homie's like, "Oh, that's dope. What's that?" Hey man, don't even worry about it. I sent you. I'm gonna send you the link. You go dig where you gonna dig. But that only
Yeah.
happens with, again, people that you have experiences collecting with and you can trust. And that's just the way it goes.
And look, that's one thing I respect about crypto, right? We both about all of us here, but we know that he digs, you know.
Oh yeah.
And how I for me, because and also crypto crypto has a full-time job. So he
Yeah.
could only dig so much, right? So this is how I know how I keep myself on my toes is like when I found that Secret Wars 10 Spanish Mexican version and
Yeah.
I found a cleaner copy than crypto, I was like, oh man, I'm
Like,
on it. He's digging. Cause no, let's be honest. Crypto's digging. So
no, he definitely.
if I found that before he did, that means I'm still on my A game. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, 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 of course.
Well, look, timing is everything, right? Like, and yeah, like obviously, like, wherever you found it, like, hey, if it's a good condition, man, like, yo, I'm happy for you. The thing
Exactly.
about the thing about that part for me, and you know this, like, I'm not saying like, hey, I want like a fucking zero, I want like a
Yeah.
0.5, but
You
to
just want
me,
one collection.
as a character collector, to me, it's sometimes more about ownership of something. Like, right? Like, it's about owning the piece more than like, oh fuck, I don't have a 9.8. Like, I don't want it.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back
And
to
you
our
could do the
point.
same with cards.
It goes back to what we're saying that some things don't pop up. So I had never seen that before in like over 6 months. Doom knows this. Like,
Yeah.
so when it came up, it's like those are things that don't come up. So to Crypto's point, like the fact that you have a copy is a W, regardless of the condition.
Yeah.
It also comes
You know,
down how you collect,
Yeah,
like your personality type collects. Like what I
your own
figured out,
standards.
yeah, what I figured out is I like to have fewer things that are more rare.
Mhm.
I
yeah.
like to condense. If I have too much, I want to. I mean, I give half of that shit away. Like I gotta keep it to a couple pieces only. Like that's just the way. That's my personality type. Like I like to
You
learn,
want
learn, learn,
less
learn,
of a
and then
footprint.
narrow down.
Yeah,
You want less of a
Doom.
footprint.
Yeah, Doom's gonna turn into a minimalist, guys, and then next thing you know, he's gonna sell his bed. He's gonna sleep on a Japanese futon on the floor. And be like,
I won't put that past me. Like it might be a vibe. Who knows?
"Oh, that's definitely a vibe." I always wanted to get one of those. That's why I threw it out there. To be honest with you,
But I
they look
definitely,
super comfortable.
yeah, definitely minimalistic in some things, but there's you know, everyone's
And less
different.
is more, is what you're saying. I get
Yeah,
you.
But just to like, let's say like complete the circle on like what we're talking about here, because the research that we're talking about is going to give you the answers on like, yo, this is like valuable and this is not, like we're not making this about money. It's not about money, but if you are going to spend money in the hobby, just make it worth your while. Make it worth the money you're investing in it, especially now in such a down market. Like, yo, here's your chance, like, this and we know this too. If we were having this conversation a few months ago, like a year ago, like when we were talking about like, man, the well's dry,
Yep.
because it was, because a lot of people bought things at peak prices. And man, like, dude, sorry, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, if you bought it at peak, and we all did it, right? Like, you did it, I did it, Doom did it,
yeah,
Yeah.
Again, it's just like one of those things. Like, I'm not telling you I'm not trying to be your financial advisor. I'm just telling you, man, it's a smarter way to do this, like, don't do what I did, like, I'm trying to help you out, but also don't ask me for like the whole, like, answer password, because I can't give you everything. Some of that stuff you have to look,
it's a journey. You can't escape that part. Like it takes time to build certain collections, and like that's I think that's an integral part of the process. Like without that, you don't really recognize what you really like to collect. I don't think it's attainable that without that. Like
The
there's a lot
trial
of
and error.
lessons learned along the way, and this is fun.
Yeah.
Like shit is fun, and if you get bored of shit, move it. Like it's no rules to this. Like everybody's doing their own thing. Like no.
yeah.
It's like
Like that's the important thing too, though, is that, like, and it's, look, I'm not bothered by the question. It's just one of those, like, dude, I'm doing this, I'm over here doing this. You want to ask me about what I'm doing, but like, dude, I need you to go do something else. Like, you need to go do what you're doing,
yeah, but
like,
criminals, some people aren't doing anything, so they want to know what you're doing. You know what I mean?
well, go down my feed and you'll see what I'm doing,
Yeah, well, they'll see the little breadcrumbs you drop. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But they're not
it's
gonna
just
know what
breadcrumbs.
they don't see the steak.
Of course. Like of course it's
Nah,
breakfast. There's some
you
things
can't.
that we don't even show, it's just about, the
Mhm.
time isn't right for certain things.
That's
I
one
don't
thing
know if
that I
it's like
did
a
learn in the past year. To be honest with you, to your point, because you know me, guys, I don't really hide stuff. I really don't. Like I like to share,
No,
but
you share stuff.
it's been me too, where like then I can't find the piece myself. So now what I at least try to do is give like myself a 1 week to 2 week advantage, you know, and that's
yeah,
it. Like after that, and again, I go after pieces that I enjoy. If I don't enjoy it, I'm not gonna pick it up. Like obviously, it's just
yeah.
yeah,
And I'll give you an example of that too. Like, look, I bought those like workbooks, like those Marvel workbooks, and Elusive hates them. You know, like, I like them. Other people
Yeah,
like them.
yeah, yeah.
Elusive doesn't like it. Like, it's not his thing. It's not his vibe. Like, I don't know if he thinks it's corny. I don't know, but that's okay. You know, if you wanted to go down that rabbit hole and buy, like, stuff, whatever, like, hey, like, like, okay, as a collector, character collector, for me, right? Other people have different situations. Why did I buy those books? Because Doom's in the book,
yeah, that makes sense.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's out of the comic card category. Like, it's not a comic or a card. It's
Yeah.
something just so like random that it's like, dude, what? Like, how did, like, why did you even look that up? And it's just like, because you're looking up Flair Ultra Avengers, and I'm over here, like, looking somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, again, and that goes back to what we're saying. That's part of like your growth as a collector and the knowledge and skills you've acquired along the way of collecting. Because the same way we know what we're doing in the card world, like there's people that laugh at us in the comic space. I know they laugh at me because I don't know what I'm doing. I just collect things that I enjoy looking at. But I'm sure, as far as like value wise, going back to what I was saying, I'm sure
Yeah.
I've been making mistakes myself. But I'm enjoying it and I'm learning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If it's not fun, then you just gotta check out of whatever hobby it is. Like just
Mhm.
go do something else, dog. Like and yeah,
yeah.
everyone's
But
gonna overpay for something at some point. That's you can't be first to everything. Like it's impossible.
No, no, definitely not. But again, when someone that's been doing this for a while gives you advice, man, like, take it with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? Look at their collection and see what they have. Uh, and then just kind of do your own judgment based on that, dude. Because I can't give you all the answers, dude. I can't. Like it's just too much information to like put out there.
Yeah, and then everybody has their own style too, so that's a good thing, like which is what we all do. We learn from everybody, and we take what we think is best and best fit for our collection, and apply those same rules to our collection. But you know, you make that up as you go. It's not something that preset or you have to follow only this guy or this person or ourselves. Like you do what you got to do, but again, know all the options that are out there before you make your choice.
Yeah. And you figure out the filters along the way. You figure out what what you get more shots at, what you get less shots at, and even if it's worth going after. So like even today, like I won't go into detail, but like there's some pieces I'm looking at of original art, and then I find the prices, and I'm like, this seems a little bit inflated for
No,
this, right? Like this is something I'm brand new to, but like.
I
I'm gonna
think I
grab
think
this over here. I'm gonna let these two go because you know what? I think I'll find something else.
that's what I was gonna say, because that also means that you didn't love it. Because if you would have loved it, you probably would have been willing to pay what it was.
no,
Yeah, it's not. It's just we have a priority list. It's not at the top, right? It's a cool thing. I would buy it anytime, but like I know if this exists, there's something else that I really like out there.
no.
That's probably gonna cost me a pretty penny. So I might as well just wait for that to pop out.
Yeah.
I'll grab this,
No.
if the price is right, and I I
And,
wanna
and
grab
and look
one
at
of the pieces and yeah.
even speaking on that, like look at the like look how you're like talking about like the FOMO. You know what I mean? You didn't fall to the FOMO. Like
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
could have been like, man, you know what? Like, man, like this piece isn't gonna come up anymore. It'll disappear because I mean, realistically, when that piece
Realistically,
does
yeah,
disappear, it will disappear
it will
for a
be
little
gone.
bit.
Yeah.
You know, like that's so much more of a FOMO than a card. You know,
Yep.
like people are going crazy about something out of 99, and it's like, dude, there's only one of these. Like, I don't
There's
know,
on
like what to tell you.
Yeah, there's only one of those, but at this point, you have enough filters that you go through, and you're like, "Oh, okay. I know that, I just" like you said, like, "I don't really need this. I'll grab one of these that I want, and then boom." Just keep being patient for that next thing to pop up.
Yeah. I think the being patient in the collector world is important. Like sometimes you miss out on things, man. Like and sometimes like it comes back to you, and you know what? Like sometimes when it does come back, you're in a better position to make
Or
that happen.
yeah, or you know what's happened to me personally? That's a good point. I've had instances where something comes up that I wanted, and I missed the auction, as an example, and then let's say it ends at 200, and then 3 weeks go by, and I see one pop up for 130. Buy it now, boom.
Yeah,
You know?
it's the thing. Like certain things you'll see pop up, um, and then there's those that you see one time and you think they're
And-
gonna pop up and they're
But
gone.
so look, so to that point as well, and it's funny because some people don't like talking about hierarchies, but that's what we're talking about. Like something that doesn't come up often is it's rare. Like it's truly rare for it to pop up online because a collector, maybe decides to liquidate, he wants to get another piece, maybe he's bored of cards and he wants something else. Like some stuff you have way more shots at than other things. And if you don't know the hierarchy of what those things are that are rare, you could just be buying, schnigel fritz, like Lucy's favorite word, you know? You could be buying crumbs.
Yeah,
And again, there's nothing wrong with buying that if that's what you enjoy and you want to look at a binder and just enjoy collecting cards. There's nothing wrong with Snickleford's. But again, if you whatever this is again, it's just people that are starting to take maybe their collecting or investment, however you want to word it nowadays. I think they both go together nowadays. But if you're taking it more serious, that's really who this is aimed at. Like I was telling Doom that earlier. Those people that really want to know what to go after are going to find out. The ones that really want to, because that's how we got here.
yeah. And I think, but that's the thing. Like the rarer the pieces get, the less you can untangle value with the collectible. Like it is gonna be automatically an asset, even though you don't view it that way. The more rare the item is, it's gonna be a price that if you ask your family, no one will co-sign on that purchase.
And here, well, I don't know if you guys ever thought about it this way, but here's another good way to explain to collectors that don't believe in hierarchies. If you were a kid and you ever had any type of collectible, but let's stick to cards, right? You know how you know which one the special one was? If you only had one top loader. Whichever card was in that top loader was a special one.
But if you had top loaders, right? Like
That's
it's
what I'm saying. If you had one top loader,
yeah.
the card that was in the top loader was your favorite card. And it's cap if you're saying that's a no.
I mean, the biggest thing is just the memory for me, right? Like, it's what's the biggest memory? Like, there's one Ninja Turtle figure I want.
Mhm.
It's probably not the most rarest one or whatever. It's just the one that I remember the most, have more memories of. Like, there's different ways to choosing what how you collect. Again, it's just your intent. Like
Yeah.
everyone's is different. Like some people, just want to invest in stuff. Some people just want to collect emotionally. Some people just want to do a little mix of both. Some
Mm.
people just want to learn and just see what's out there. It's just intriguing, right? It's just
But it's cool because everything's part of like the hobby ecosystem. Like everybody
oh
plays a
yeah.
role in the whole thing, which is awesome.
And let's fucking dead this whole flippers negative bullshit. Like, come on, dog. Like you need people to sell shit so you can buy shit. Like, come on. It is what it is. Like
Yeah, like you can't hate the game. That's what the game is. Like you buy stuff and you fund the hobby with the hobby.
No, you can. What it really comes down to is you can't be playing the game behind the scenes and then acting like you're not playing the game and complaining about the game. When you're
Well, that,
backdoors, you're doing everything else everybody else is doing, if not
well,
worse.
that too, and that happens too.
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, but
everything is needed for things to go in and out of people's hands, and that's what all we're doing. We're trading, you know,
except for
pieces.
mine,
Well, yeah, some people lock it down,
Free.
but
Like,
even Sergio sells some stuff, so don't
of
yeah.
course,
you know what I'm
of
saying?
course, and guess what? Like I feel like a lot of the pieces that I've sold have gone to people that I don't want to say deserve it, but like they were
I was gonna say.
character collectors.
And
You
you
know?
know what? And say that, man. It's crazy how you hesitated there, because I know where you're coming from. But it, he deserved that, at least in your eyes, and that's what matters, because it was your piece that you owned.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys knew this, but I just started learning about this. But I guess the Asian market, when they do big deals, you have to have dinner with these people, right? And they have to
Yeah,
get to know you and see, if, to your point, if you're someone they want to sell their collectible to.
yeah.
I think there's something respectable
it's a
about that.
background check.
You know what I
It's a
mean? But that's just
collector's
me.
background check for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like, anyway, for me, so there's nothing wrong with that. What you're saying, you're just saying, hey, I'm happier if this piece goes to someone that I know is going to appreciate it more than I did, or at least as much as I did.
And
Yeah,
sometimes,
'cause-
like, I'll let this one go to you because I don't care if you feel a bit like I don't mind you getting money.
Yeah,
Like my intent, like when I sell something to someone, like I don't mind them flipping it the next day. It is what it like.
yeah,
I get to choose who gets to make a profit. That's part of the process too.
yeah.
Do I like this guy? Do I not like this guy? And sometimes I don't want to know. I just put it on eBay. Hey, whoever wants it, get it.
And
But
I
it's
think that,
certain pieces. It's only for certain people,
yeah,
and that's it.
yeah. Like, just so you guys know, don't be hitting him up about a Secret Wars Martinic. Here, there's a waiting list.
I mean,
Yeah, hey, there's a wait. Hey, I'm
let's
sorry, guys.
be
There's a waiting
brutally
list.
honest for people. Shout out to some of the guys who reached out before. Like that's already spoken for. Whoever leaves my hands, like it's a wrap, dog. Like
Mhm.
sorry.
First come, first serve, guys. Like, that's what people don't understand. Sometimes, I have people reach out to me about the 75th, and same thing. Like, as soon as I grade them, I promise I will. As soon as I grade them, I'm gonna call the first person on the list that's been waiting, then the second person. You know what I mean? That's how I do it, because that's just personally how I would like it done unto me. Like, if I
yeah,
asked you for a piece and it wasn't available at the time I asked you, I respect that. but keep me in mind if you do ever decide to move it. You know, so
Yep.
I do the same thing. Like, shout out to Frodo Banner.
Yeah.
He's posting a lot of nice cards lately, but I moved the whole hologram to him. You know,
Hmm.
and again, because he reached out to me as soon as I posted it, quicker than anybody. He's like, "Hey man, I really been looking at it. If you ever sell it," and I was like, "Hey, I need to grade it first. I just obviously didn't get around to grading, as you could tell yet. But I moved that piece because I remembered him right off rip. He's the first person to reach out to me, and I don't know him personally, but again, he reached out to me.
Yeah. Well, and he established a relationship as
Yeah,
whatever. It doesn't have to be extensive, right? It could be minimal, but there's a certain amount of respect there or courtesy. Like a lot of that stuff factors in these decisions, and
yeah,
yeah, try not to fucking burn bridges when you're contacting people. Like as much as like I didn't get a lot of pieces through connections, like
yeah,
I think recently it is because the homies like in the beginning it wasn't that way, but
yeah.
definitely connections play a part in it. The more and more time goes on.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you were saying too. I think there's certain pieces that obviously either we got blessed with and we came up on ourselves, or we found digging, and then there's pieces that were gate kept, right? And maybe you start staying longer in the hobby, and they think, hey, you know what, this guy stuck around. Actually, he really is about what he's talking about. So
You know,
maybe let me offer him this piece that I know he might be interested in now.
or information just got passed on.
Yeah, or someone send you a link. Yep.
And,
Yeah,
But
and,
again,
and,
it goes back
and
to the connections you made.
yeah,
and it's crazy because we're talking about, like, let's say, like, one card falling into another person's hand, right?
Mhm.
It's probably more likely that that's what's happening behind the scenes than actually stuff being like gate kept.
Yeah, 100%.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, they're just switching
Like,
heads. Yeah,
you just don't have a chance at it because
no one
you
said
have
a word.
fucking 10 people waiting for it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and but again, that's just what happens to all of us. Like, there's things that I still want that I guarantee you have exchanged hand behind the scenes that I didn't get to know about.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
that's just part of what it is. It is what it is.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a couple cards that I'm waiting to see one day if someone blesses me with the shot at it. Like it's just a shot at it too. Like it's crazy, right? It's to that level where like I just want a shot. Like who
Yeah, I just
knows
want to
if
see
I
it.
can afford it at the time, but like all you want is a shot, and then if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And again, it comes back to personality. Like I know by now if I can't like if I get one thing, I want like a lot of that same thing.
Mhm.
I want to complete like as much of it as possible. So maybe I have a rare piece. It just happened recently, right? I have a rare piece. I move another piece. Okay, this one, I can no longer just have one of these things. Because then I'll be tempted to go buy and fill this whole collection. Like I don't want just one part. Like if I'm gonna get something, I want a substantial part of that. So you know what? Someone else is doing that completest form. Let me go bless them with it, and they have a more complete collection. They deserve to have it in their collections. I no longer feel responsible to keep it. Like
Yeah.
this belongs with someone else.
I think a good example of that is when you did a trade with Jack, and he's a big
Yeah,
Ninja
Ninja
Turtles
Turtles.
collector,
Yeah,
and you gave him a huge card.
yeah, yeah. One on one. Like quickly. Look, I grew up with Ninja Turtles, and it's still like nostalgic to me. But like he clearly had a bigger collection. It just only felt right to give him the opportunity to get that.
Mm.
Because as a collector, I respected it. I respected what he was doing. And I don't know what part of that is. Like a lot of people don't do shit like that. I don't
Yeah,
know.
look, recently, it's like, and not even for me, like Valor made it public. I let go of that 75th gold border
Yeah.
um
Nightcrawler.
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 Yeah, and that's honestly this, and Doom knows this. That's the first trio I've ever broken. Like that,
Yeah.
I had 3 cards that I was gonna PC just for Nightcrawler, which was the Gold Border, the Quick Strike, and a buyback from '94 Fleer X-Men, and now I'm down to the buyback and the Quick Strike. Now, for that one, it made it easy, I that at least this is how I convinced myself, and looking at Valor and how persistent he's been with collecting that set, and that's a tough task. I don't think personally I don't want to say no one's going to be able to do it again. I think it's going to be harder than what it was for him, unless you just buy the whole set outright.
Yeah, to piece it together is gonna be difficult.
Yeah, that's what I mean. To piece it together the way he did, and that it goes back to what you were saying about Jack with the Ninja Turtles. Same thing here with me with Jack or with Valor or Daniel. I was like, hey, he obviously needs it more than I need it, so that's why.
Yeah, yeah. At a certain point, you just recognize and it just makes sense. It's just clicks in the moment, and then boom, you're done with that. And
Yeah.
that comes down to personality types, and if you want to
Yeah,
help
and
someone out that way,
if you knew how hard it is for Lucid to break a trio, like man,
that's
you guys
tough.
have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, look, you helped him complete it for sure, and who knows who is maybe someone else is going for it. Who knows? I've had a couple people actually hit me up like and ask me like, hey, do you have other 75th pieces? Like on eBay and stuff like that, and I respectfully just don't respond. Like, listen, this is what's on sale right now. Don't ask me what else, if I have other things. Like, you're obviously trying to because no, think about it. Like, he's obviously trying to finish the set, right? He's probably looking for very specific cards.
Yeah.
But if I don't have that relationship with you, like, dude, I don't know who you are. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't have anything for you. What you see is what you get. On eBay, what you see is what you got.
Bro, that's the thing too, and it's also your approach to things. Like, when we, when you introduced me Collection Kings elusive, like, I was missing a lot of pieces. Consciously, I didn't ask him for shit to begin with. I remember he did a video with Gingy. A lot of people hit him up, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I come across those type of collectors, people who have big collections or who have a lot of like specific era of collections, I almost find it insulting to ask them right away for a piece. Like, I establish a relationship with people because of the person. Like, if we get along, we get along. Let's talk. Like, I don't talk to many people outside of people who I really just enjoy talking to, like on a personal level. Like, otherwise, like, we'll send messages back and forth, but it's not like we have like a great, I don't really call people often. Like, it's I take it seriously, and we got along, and we were on a couple group chats, and months went on, and one day he asked me, "Hey, yo, which ones are you missing?" And then he blessed me with the emerald for $15. Like, he didn't have to do that, but it's all about how you approach people, and if you respect them, and if you find someone who has a crazy collection, you automatically just asking them to buy something. Like, it's a pretty high chance they're just gonna look past you, thinking like, "Oh no, not for sale."
Like, I'll give you an example that happened a couple, like probably like over a year ago. I went to a comic shop here in Florida, and I had a friend that knows the comic dealer, right? He sells like comics, like he works at the comic shop, but he sells like his own comics on the side, kind of like situation, like his exclusive comics.
Yeah.
And man, me and him were having a conversation. We just hit it off, and I like thinking back on it now, it was for sure one of those like, let me see if this guy is like a collector, like for real, or if he's gonna go like flip this thing. He's gonna go flip
like a little
this.
test. Yeah.
Like a test.
I remember
He asked me very specific questions, and like like I told him, I said like I'm specifically looking for this, and he pulled out from behind like a little tray. He opens up the cabinet and pulls out the Secret Wars run that I bought like well over a year ago. You guys know that.
Yeah.
And bro, the guy sold it to me for $40. While we're having that conversation, this other guy kind of like steps in and starts asking like a couple questions about like very specific books. And for whatever reason, he like shut him down like right away. Like, he knew that his intent was different than like my intent,
Yeah.
Because like we were talking about like a year and a half ago, I'm over here picking up Secret Wars when it wasn't even really like a talked about thing.
Yeah.
To pick it up for $40, like, man, I felt like he showed me love because he gave me every single book except the Spider-Man cover.
Yeah.
Everything else was $40, and most of them are newsstands, and those books like talking to him, like, after, and like building a connection with him where I can go to his house and dig through long boxes in his his own home.
Yeah, I mean, those were curated, right? Like, unlike some
Dude,
people who,
that's
some people
different.
put that fucking label. They don't do that shit. But some people actually curate collections, and when you take
Like,
your time and investment in like curating a collection, you're not just gonna offer it to anyone out there.
not many people are just gonna let you in their house and be like, yeah, go through my long boxes, dude.
No, man.
And give me fair prices at that. Like, knowing, and again, like I said, when you try to pick up that vibe from the other person, he wasn't feeling that vibe as a collector. He was like, nah, he shut it down really quick.
Yeah. And look, another thing. I'm just saying shit at this point. A lot of things you can't just fucking buy. I don't care what kind of bag you got. It don't work that way, dog. Like, you can go buy all fucking PMGs you want. Like, some things you just can't buy. You can't throw money at certain shit.
Yeah, man.
So no, like
Certain shit or certain
unspoken
people.
rules, of this shit, dog. Don't get it twisted. Not everything has a price on it, homie.
Yeah.
And if it does, it's a price you could afford, but it's not available to you.
No.
Yeah. How weird is that?
Hey,
It,
man.
is it weird?
Hey, courtesy, respect, all that shit.
No,
Like,
it is weird because what he said, I never thought about that. Like the fact that like someone could offer, let's say two people offer you the same amount, and one of them offers you more, and you're like,
yeah, I'm not saying yes to the bigger price.
yeah,
It's I take everything in consideration. Like, it just is what it is.
But again, hey, listen, that's a cool thing about the hobby. You know what I mean? Like, maybe some people don't have those connections, but again, it's one of those things that if you want to get into the hobby of collecting cards and comics and stuff like that, that's why I tell people, don't do what we do. Like, take the ideas of what we do and do your own thing. If you want some help along the way, ask someone that knows. You know what I mean? But be respectful.
Y-
Be
Very
respectful of
respectful.
people's collection. Be respectful. Be respectful of people's education, self education. Because there's a lot of homework that was put into this, dude. And it looks simple. Like, and guess what, dude? It is. It's simple. It's very
Yeah.
simple. So it's like when someone's like, hey, what's the direction to like wherever? I'm like, dude, just go to Google. Just open up eBay, bro. Just dig.
And
Take references of what you see and go dig yourself, and you'd be surprised on what you find. There's a lot out there that people just don't either care for, they don't know about, or they're into other situations and they want to like, do other things, which is cool too,
yeah, of course. There's like
you,
those
but
Lego hardcore Lego collectors.
yeah.
Those are cool. I respect it, but I'm priced out of the pieces that I like when I go look into it.
Well, and it's another tip. Like, fine tune your passion.
no,
Whatever it happens to be, whatever IP, whatever fucking collectible, whatever. Like, the quickest way to get a rare item is that you're very focused on one thing. And
yeah,
the only way to do that is you have to have that in mind. What are you most passionate about? Like, it may sound fucking corny or whatever, but like, it is what it is. Like, you
Yeah.
just gotta focus on that shit because you know 9 times out of 10, someone's already thought of that idea, but that one chance where it's the same thing that a lot of people like, but no one has done all that research or no one has found those pieces. You get one
Or
chance
here's
at it.
another thing too. Let's be honest. Let's also be honest. Sometimes people see it just like you saw it, but didn't think it was worth the price you paid for it,
Yeah.
and
And
that's fine.
someone else
and-
is gonna come along the way. Is gonna be like, nope, that's good. And they're
yeah.
gonna
I
grab
mean,
that.
it's only valued to what what you're willing to pay for it, bro. But again, that's why knowing the homework is part of it. Because if you don't do your homework, then you can't really value things and be like, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the right price. If you don't know, if you don't have like a base knowledge of like the standard stuff, it's really hard to like put prices on stuff, man. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Especially things that don't appear, where you can't like find a comp and stuff like that. Like, or like I said, just as a new collector, man, it's tough. Like, it's very tough. It's very hard to figure out what things cost and should it cost that much, like did you click on like, hey, highest price, and the first thing you're like, oh man, I got to buy this one when the other one's the same for half the price,
And even now, that's to your point, even knowing like base comps of certain things, the market is still evolving where even things that are low right now are not going to be low forever. Like for not every obviously specific things.
Yeah. Don't
They're
take the
absolutely,
prices for granted on some of these
yeah,
things.
exactly. They don't understand yet, but guess what? In 5 years, go back and look at some of the comps of certain pieces, and you tell me what happened.
Bro, like it's shit 2 years in. Like I remember some of the like 7-foot gold borders were going for like $35. Hey, you guys want to get a laugh at this? Go to eBay right now. Go look at gold 7-foot gold borders and look at those prices. I'm not gonna name names, but somebody just put that shit next level prices. So
Yeah. And again, we think that now because yes, today that's not what they're worth, but we don't know what they're going to be worth in 3 to 5 years either. To be
and what
honest,
and what we know, that seller, they're not budging any movement on that price.
yeah,
Yeah, like that. Yeah, yeah. That guy is like set. Like that's it. It's almost like it's almost like a post of like, hey, I have it. I have it, and you don't. It's just like, well, it's the only one online. But little does he know. At any given moment, he'd be like, hey, let me put like 2 online and fuck his game up real quick. It's just like, dude, like, just
but then
crazy. Like,
I don't get too mad at it when it's that obvious to me. It's more when they really think that's what it's worth. When they are out putting it way out
Future
of
pricing, yeah. Like
yeah, but
if
when they're putting it way out of price, I do think it's a good thing. And this is what I mean. Like in general, if he puts it up for 1,000, and you like you said, let's say you're sitting on two, and you're willing to take 300 for yours, he helped you sell yours.
yeah,
And
at this moment, yeah, you take advantage of
you
that.
know,
Yeah.
and that's fine to whoever wanted them at 300. But guess what? It's his card. He can price it whatever he wants. Another thing it's helping him with is like that's what I do with the Simone Bianchi card. I don't PC Spider Man, so there's a price to that card. Guess what? You want to buy it today? I have it up on eBay right now. You can go buy it.
Yeah.
wait. You don't PC Spider-Man?
No, no, I don't. Certain
Nice.
pieces, certain, but no, I don't PC Spider Man as a character.
So anyone who follows Elusive's page, anything Spider-Man, just go hit him up. There's a price on it. Is what I heard. So you know what I'm saying?
That's what
Yeah,
he's saying, man.
but it goes back to what you were saying. There's a waiting list. And it goes to
Yeah, it's a lot of factors. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a
So
lot of
it's
factors. It
not
ain't
as
that
easy as
easy.
you might seem, but yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But definitely, if you're interested in something, let me know. I'm always down to do trades as well.
Yeah, that too. I mean, look, people still do trades out here. You just gotta have the right stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get lucky, man. Again, hey, shout out to OCGP, man. Like, I for sure didn't see that card like when it was online. I know Doom had one for a while, and I think it kind of like disappeared for a little bit, or I haven't personally seen it.
But
And we,
it,
we we
it
we traded it up straight up, man, and it was just an easy deal, and I appreciate that because like, man, like you gotta like kind of question like those things, right? Like it's just like, dude, did he give it to me? I mean, obviously, like there was a fair value, right? But it could have been like, nah, you know what, man, like nah, I don't want to trade for it, or like I want to trade something else, or like try to get like a overvalue his trade over mine. You get what I mean? Like I feel like it was just an easy like, it's yours, man, and like, dude, I appreciate that. So like again. He tells me now, like we have a base relationship, and if I see something he might like, he might get that link, and that's how that works.
yeah, yeah, no, that's how it works. And he's like he makes it really easy to trade with. Like certain people, they know what they're after, so they're putting stuff up. And you create connections. That's how you get it.
And I do think it's cool though too is to see more of these new collectors pop up on Instagram, because you go back a couple months ago and some of those names didn't exist, right? And now they're making they're showcasing their stuff, and like, hey, some people got some cool stuff, man, that haven't been in the hobby and in the Instagram Marvel hobby for a long time, and it's
Yeah.
cool to see. it's cool to see other people's stuff. You know.
Yeah, I think some of it, to your point, that could be new, but I think what happened also is I think there was some of these people that are coming up on the IG, is people that collected last year that were picking up. They were new last year, but they didn't want to, post anything themselves because they were still chasing some pieces, possibly.
There's new Instagram accounts from collectors who've been collecting for a lot of years, longer than us. Like, it's
Oh,
just
for sure.
new to Instagram. So yeah, don't be fooled. Like, you can definitely tell by the content they put out there. So
Yeah.
again, like, you know, when we come back to curating shit, like, it does factor into how people approach you, and people either, respect you or not. All of it factors in.
Of course, man. So don't burn your bridges in the hobby. You got to build them, bro. And sometimes, guys, send a link. Send a link to the homies.
Yeah, for
That's
real,
all.
dog. Like, a lot of it, yeah, bro. I sent a lot of links to people.
Yeah. 100%.
Some people use them. Some people didn't.
Me too. Yeah, same thing. I send my links all the time.
Some people return the favor, some never did. So just mental notes.
Yeah.
All right, shout out time. This week, I want to shout out to Gabe's Cave. They got a dope ass sketch giveaway. What is it? Every week or so?
Yes, sir.
And this week they chose Shane McCormick, and there's a whole Batman animated series set. So hoping that to win that raffle. It's gonna be tough. There's a lot of people who sign up for it, but man, those sketch cards look dope. They all look sick.
He definitely did his homework.
Yeah, bro. Like, yeah, that's a guy you might have to like get some original piece from later on. But shout out to them and shout out to him for showing those sketches.
Yeah, my shout out today is gonna be for the he goes by the R.AC, or excuse me, the R.A.C. Also as a real asset collector on IG. But he's the guy who I picked up the Mario Prism Carddass cards from.
Well, yeah, shout out to him. Yeah, I picked up a couple.
Yeah, so yeah, shout out to him, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, again, if you want to follow him, he has a lot of different. He has a lot of variety in collectibles in his page.
Yeah, he has some cool stuff for sure.
Very cool.
All right, guys. Now we're out.
All right,
do your homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay digging out there, people. Peace.
Take care, guys. Enjoy.
Peace.